All right, I've been promising to take this thing out for a while, the Stihl RMA510V and the line trimmer, the FSA90R. Both run on Stihl's AP platform. Had a lawn lined up to do this morning, but that's fallen through. So we're probably just going to be knocking on a random person's door and seeing if we can do a maintenance mow. We're not looking for anything wildly overgrown because I feel it's more of a maintenance machine personally. Like, it runs on their AP platform, which is their professional range of batteries. Could get through some, longer, thicker stuff, but I don't think that's really its target market. Anyway, who knows what'll happen? Let's go. Actually, just got a text message. We are going to do a quote, so we might be doing a paid job first, then we'll see how we go. Maybe we'll do another one after that. Okay, here we are. We've got the Stihl RMA510V, which is the self-propelled version of this mower. It also comes in a RMA510, which is just the push one. And to be honest with you, for the block that we have here, very small modern block. It's probably 350, 400 square meters. Tiny patch out the front, bigger patch out the back, but I wouldn't be buying a self-propelled mower for this size yard. One of the main reasons is by the time they get up to speed, you've basically got to turn the thing around anyways. This one is self-propelled though. It is very light though, so you can still just push it around and not really notice the weight. Now, price is obviously going to vary depending if you have batteries, charger, what size battery you get. But as I'm testing it here, with the mower, AP500S, which is their biggest battery, and the charger, which is the supercharger that I have, you're looking at $1,600 for battery, charger, and mower. If you want to break that down, the skin is $699. Non-self-propelled version is $599. The charger that I have is the supercharger, which is $250. There's also one that's $179. Charger's a little bit slower than that. A big part of the cost of this mower though, the battery, $649. But as I said, it is their largest capacity battery. So as we're testing it here, $1,600, but you could go cheaper. To do the edges here, we're going to be using the FSA90R. This is a $649 skin only, meaning you still need a battery and charger. Has the motor in the head, so you may or may not like that. Definitely has a different feel balance-wise, to a traditional machine. I think this is one off the absolute top of the range in terms of mowers for Stihl. The next step up from this is a $3,300 skin though, so that's really aimed at contractors, I guess. There are cheaper mowers on the AK battery platform, so totally different batteries to these ones. That's more domestic user equipment. As I mentioned previously, the AP system is their professional line. They do have 3 modes of cutting, catching, mulching with the mulch plug, which is at home. I won't be using that today anyway. And side discharge, there's a little side discharge port here, which I do like as an option. Helps to get through that thicker, longer stuff sometimes. 8 position height adjustment, but only goes down to 35 mil according to the specs. 35 mil to 90 mil at the highest. I have to say 35 mil in Australian conditions is probably not low enough. The bar blade sits about 20 mil from the bottom of the deck. This is a 51 centimeter deck, so around 20 inches. I don't know, I could read your specs all day. Let's just get mowing. I say mowing, but we're going to rip in with the line trimmer first. I will be using just the singular, I do have multiple batteries, but I will be using the singular AP500S for the line trimming and the mowing to see how far we can push it. It's a very small block, so it really shouldn't have any dramas. What I will be doing first is tending to this weed. These things look absolutely awful when you just mow over them in the middle of winter because they really stand out from the grass. I think this is a one piece. We might be able to pull it out in one go. Oh, look at that. Look at the mane on that. Let's get it all together. Hello. So yeah, like I said, I could mow over it, make an absolute mess of it, but this has made a massive difference just pulling that out. Have a look at that. That's one piece. These solar lights, as a lawnmower guy, are really annoying because you can leave them there and destroy them with the whippersnipper accidentally. I don't care how good you are, eventually you'll destroy them. or you got to pull each and every one out and put them back when you're done. Just little things, but they're just little things that stop you from just getting the job done. These ones aren't too bad. All right, gotta love a satisfying click in for the battery. I'll give that one about a 6.5 to 7 on the satisfying scale. I have used this FSA 90R before, a couple of years actually. I bought one when they first came out. It had a different head. That was the only difference between that one and this one, where you had to pull the the tip of the head off to rewind it manually. This has got more of a speed feed style where you ratchet it up, which is much appreciated. This is buffalo grass, if you're not familiar with it. Not a lot of colour. We are in the middle of winter, obviously, at the moment, so it is a warm season grass, so it does go to sleep this time of year. Doesn't take a lot to get it back when spring comes. Give it a little bit of a cut back, get rid of all that dead stuff. Feed it, water it, comebacks amazingly. It'll come back amazingly. You may have noticed me tossing some garbage over the fence there. Obviously there's a building site next door, and it's always an issue when you're working next to these. There's always stuff flying over, so I've got no problem with putting it back where it came from. Very fiddly blocks. This is about I assume 350, 400 square metre block. And I think a lot of people think if they have these style of blocks that it's going to be very cheap to get my lawn done because it's only a tiny block. But these things are a lot more fiddly than a, old style quarter acre block. Things like this, there's awkward access to a lot of places. I can barely get the trimmer up right here. Lots of grass up against render. Push my luck so far. It doesn't matter how careful you are around that render, you're going to destroy it at some point. It's a good point, Tim. These scissors come in handy all the time. It's definitely getting it done. It's more than enough for this sort of stuff. Oh God, we've got rocks here. I can't tell if the sound, I don't know, try and listen to the sound. Does it sound like it bogs down a little bit when it's like fully under load? Like it's not crazy talky, but it's getting through it. I don't know, maybe it's just my ears. If you listen here, it is bogging down a bit. It's probably a bit harder to hear because this is sped up to 2x, I think. But the reason it was bogging down, I think I've got 2.7mm line in it, and I don't think it likes 2.7mm line. The cutter wasn't cutting it. I was trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I ended up, you'd bump it, the cutter wouldn't cut it, so then you're running another, probably inch more line than it should be, and that was affecting the RPM. So I definitely recommend do not take the guard off this thing, for one, because it doesn't like that little bit of extra line. And I still need to check the specs on it, but on the manual, I think it might only want 2.4mm line. A little bit of weeding here. I would recommend spraying this stuff, but for that instant transformation. I've actually got some organic weed killers to try, so they'll be coming up in a future video. A couple of comparisons between them. This one here was an absolute pain, but... All right, same battery. Still showing 4 bars. Obviously, it wasn't a ton to do there. Let's run over it with the mower. The back will challenge it a little bit more. So I did set it to, I think, the 4th height level. As I mentioned earlier, lowest it goes is 35mm according to the specs, which is, it's not low enough for here. It really isn't. That's a lot more suited to American cutting conditions where they cut the grass a lot higher. We do cut a lot lower here. Just a cultural thing. Now, this is self-propelled. I'm not using the self-propelled here. No need to do it. It's light enough that you don't need it. If you have a block like this, I would 100% be buying the non-self-propelled version for a couple of reasons. I'm not a massive fan of how the self-propelled works on this unit. The bales feel like they're the wrong way around for me. Meaning that the drive is where I feel the cutter engage should be, and the cutter engage is where the drive should be for me. I just feel like they're back to front, in my opinion, just from what I've used. I've used the Greenworks uses the exact same chassis and handlebars as this unit, and the bales on that are the other way around. It feels more natural to me. So I'm not sure why they went that way. There must be a reason, but again, that might just be a personal preference thing. But also, it's one of those self-propelled mowers that when you get to the end of your run and you release the drive bale, you've kind of got to let it, almost like the... That's what we got. That's winter for you. Almost like the sprocket has to turn a bit more, or the gear has to turn a bit more before you can pull it back. Otherwise, the wheels lock up. So for small areas like this, a little bit annoying in that regard.
Fun and games.
Don't buy the self-propelled if you have a small block. Access at these small blocks, I think it's a 350 or 400 square metre block. So this thing's more than capable for maintenance scenarios. Might look weird me doing a vertical edge here, but I think for these, this is what I do. I always do a vertical edge on these hard surfaces because it just creates a little gap, and then it's so much easier to do it next time. If you let it sort of build up and build up over time, it just gets thicker and thicker. Bit of dead grass there. This wasn't laid all that long ago. Probably didn't get enough water back there when it was laid. I don't know, do you do a vertical edge against a fence or any hard surface? I generally do. More great design in these, more great landscaping design in these small blocks. If you got something like this, don't put grass around. Like I can't even get the line trimmer in there. Like it's awkwardly in there, slapping against that. That's a stormwater access point that they've just framed up over and put some eco deck across it. So many little fiddly things in these small blocks. If you're building a place, have a good think about your placement of stuff, because you'll be hating yourself when you got to trim around awkward sections and that sort of thing. Grass is great as a surface because it's quite cheap, good value, but it's not suitable for everywhere. And so many people just throw it down because it's like, oh, okay, it greens it up, it looks nice, but it's just not suitable for everywhere. So this is where I really started to notice this thing bogging down. Really, you can hear it there.
It's like it's really bogging down. Like, I don't know if it's the headphones. I'm going to try it here. Like, there's a little bit of growth and thickness here, but it's nothing too crazy.
Definitely something
I just figured out what it was.
Can get through.
It's actually my line. This line that I'm using has a bit of a rubbery feel about it. So I think when it's picking up speed, it's sort of folding back.
This is purely assumption, which turned out to be incorrect.
There. So I'm going to take this out because it's running a good 2 inches longer than it should be, and that's obviously why it's bogging down. And see how easy that head is to get off. Not too bad.
So that cap pops off reasonably easily. It is new.
Style head. But obviously, if you want to take the line out, you can take the top of the head off.
That's my normal speed of talking. I had a little bit of trouble initially getting it through. It's not the type of speed feed where it pierces right through the centre. I think it goes around the outside and through again. So sometimes it can be harder to get the line through that eyelet on the other side. I feel the thinner the line, the easier it generally is. But I'm going to try this thing with some 2.4. I'll do a full video on this machine itself. And yeah, definitely try it with some different size line. I definitely don't think it's a machine you'd be wanting to use as a commercial contractor or something. More than capable. That's a recycled water tap, by the way. A lot of these places have recycled water, which is great because there's no restriction on watering your lawn or your garden. Very common in these new estates. We will be using the mower shortly, testing it out. I don't understand what this thing here is, so random. My first thought it was covering something, but it's a feature. It was triggering me a bit because it wasn't parallel with the fence. Slightly off. Hard access there.
So we are down to, don't know if you can see it, 2 bars now.
So yeah, I'm using the same battery for mowing and line trimming. Which you absolutely could do. If the budget allows, definitely get a couple of batteries though, even for home use. It's just the swapping is annoying. Not that it's hard or anything, but it's just one less thing to have to worry about. Now I did start using the self-propelled a little bit after this, just to give it a go. I think I started using it around here. I think it'd be much more suited to a large open yard where you can, turn easily, keep it running. But yeah, definitely if you have this size yard, don't be buying the self-propelled version. Not having any trouble getting through this. We're not going super aggressive or anything. It's middle of winter, so we're not going to get a ton of growth. The colour out here is actually surprising for this time of year. You compare it to the front. You can still see the joins in the turf from when it was laid. I do a double cut of here, which I generally do anyway, but I felt I needed to. I don't think it bags amazingly. It does have, this was on the higher mode. And by higher mode, I mean it's got an eco switch on it, which will make it, the RPM ramp up and down depending on the load on it. Also carries 2 batteries, only uses one at a time. This extra port there is just like storage for another one. If you're midway through cutting it runs out, you just switch them over. So carries 2 batteries, but uses one at a time. That's the side discharge port there. Nice little look on the undercarriage there. Single bar blade. That's the rear chute. And then here's your drive. That's the drive speed. Just that lever goes up or down. That safety switch on the right there engages the blade. So it's going now, blade is going now, you can't hear it. And then you pull that front one to drive. But then you see what I mean by you let go and you're kind of holding on by your thumbs and this, then you hold back down again. But I just feel it's, I don't know, it just felt a little bit awkward to me. In a bigger area, and I have used these things in a bigger area, these things are a lot easier to use, but yeah, most self-propelleds in small areas are not really fun. Second pass, going the other way, pick up anything that it missed. I just find you get a nicer even cut with a double pass on with any mower, particularly something that's not bagging amazingly. And here is our final cut. Not a bad result. Looks okay. We got down to 1 bar left on the battery of the 4. So I can't tell you exactly how much it is, but it's used at least 3/4 of the battery for this small yard to line trim and mow. Double cut out the back. So yeah, I think you would need more than one battery if you had a regular or traditional size block, in my opinion. Obviously, those run times are going to come right down as well if the stuff is really thick and heavy. So yeah, that is the Stihl RMA510V self-propelled battery mower. If you've got any questions about it, let me know in the comments. I'll do some more testing with it. Also going to do some more testing with the line trimmer. Plenty more videos to come here, obviously. We've also got a podcast, which we do here. So yeah, if you want to check that out, wherever you listen to podcasts, or we do a video version here. So see you in the next one.